The trophy that Frank claims to have won from his Kumite victory and that appeared with him in the Black Belt article about the tournament has drawn a lot of controversy as well.
Here we go.
Remember that LA Times editorial from 1988 that I mentioned in part 1, which claimed to have found no proof of Asenzo Tanaka in Frank's area during the 70s? Well, the guy who wrote it, John Johnson, great name, also claimed to have the scoop on the actual way Frank procured his championship trophy as well. He wrote that the W.R. Moody Company, a trophy shop in North Hollywood, were shown photos of the trophy, and they said that the base and the ceramic plaque were made by their company. However, there are some issues with the receipt Johnson claimed was his smoking gun.
Now, this is something we didn't get to. I don't think we did. But there is actually a quasi reasonable argument against the fact that this was Frank Dux buying his own trophy. Now, pay close attention.
Well, that guy also claimed to have flown his house with 1 million balloons. So, consider the source.
That is good. I did not see that one coming. He does. He totally does. So, counter argument is I don't know why I was blanking on the word counter argument, but there's a very potentially legitimate counter argument to Frank Dux having been the one who bought his own Kumite trophy. And here it is.
One thing people like to get hung up on is the misspelling of Frank's last name on the receipt.
When that is not Frank Dux' signature, it is someone else who wrote down Frank Dux and Frank Dux' address as the order, and they wrote it K-E-S as opposed to how it's spelled with the X.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been just on the phone and somebody that didn't know any better just assumed it was spelled the traditional way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to say that Frank himself misspelled his name, okay, maybe that means it was another Frank Dux. But if this is written by someone at the store, how the fuck would they know that it's spelled with an X?
Yeah, nobody would ever assume it was spelled with an X.
But this is what people are hanging their hat on to say, no, Frank didn't buy his own trophy. Okay, yes, maybe that store around the corner from his house has identified that exact trophy that he's holding in his hand was made by them, specifically custom made for a guy named Frank Dux, but it's spelled differently. I mean, like, really, come on.
Not the smoking gun you think it is.
There are 7 Frank Duxes in the California area. And yes, maybe he coincidentally is holding that trophy that this specific store made and has identified as being custom made by them, but it was a different Frank Dux. Amazing.
Reading D-U-K-E-S rather than D-U-X. Honestly, though, a misspelled name really isn't that giant of a revelation. You ever been to Starbucks? The far more interesting thing is that the notes describing the trophy style on the receipt and the design draw-up of it don't appear to match the Kumite trophy at all. Frank's explanation of this...
I don't get where he's saying that, because he seems to be countering what he says originally, where he says that the store owners identified it and said, yes, it is ours, but now he's saying that they don't match, but he's not quoting a source for the matching. So I'm not sure what he's getting at there.
Receipt's existence is that it was for a different trophy that he commissioned them to repair for him after it had been damaged.
But now Frank admits that he did employ them, but it was for a different trophy. He is the worst at defending himself. The worst.
In regard to the real trophy itself, Frank told Black Belt magazine that the trophy is never really the property of the winner and its value makes it worth keeping.
So then he says, I never had a trophy because they don't give us trophies at the Kumite. It's really more of a credit thing. It's really symbolic. They don't give us the trophies. So yes, of course I had that trophy made, but that was for something else totally different. But
in a secure place.
Hey, wait, do you have the trophy in your office right here?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Can we see this? That's cool, man.
And there it is in his office.
Where else would it be, really?
But don't forget, they don't give them to you. So he stole it. So now he's also a thief. By the way, take a look at that face. We were talking about how
That's sad.
yeah, it's sad, but yeah, fuck this guy.
That in the
Now
record
you got-
books.
That's right, it sucks.